டிவிஎஸ் ஸ்கூட்டி அளிக்கிறது உங்களுக்கு சாலையில் அதிகரித்த கண்ட்ரோலும் மகிழ்ச்சியுடன் பாதுகாப்பான பயணமும்.
Hi, I'm Sreekar Prasad. You're watching me on Moviebuff Short Talk. Most exciting part for editing in Ponniyin Selvan was the climax sequence, the boat sequence, you know, because it was something which can be imagined easily, but not so easily to execute. I thought when he told me the idea, I was just wondering how it can be done, because everything is happening in the middle of the sea. There's storm, there's wind, there's, you know, and that to be created. So we didn't really know how it was going to pan out. Anyway, Mani sir actually made the one storyboard, and also it had so much of CG. So at the ideation stage itself, it was like a huge sequence, and because it has the climax of the film, we needed to get it as a very big high for the film. So when we started the ideation itself, you know, we had to do a lot of pre-production for it in terms of making drawings and how the ship would be, and then get the CG guys into it, and then he got out with a story. The story had such a huge length in the sense that a character has to come, see a person taken, the Vandhiyathevan taken as a prisoner. He has to go jump inside, go fight, save him, and then the ship collapses, and then they fall into the sea. So that whole idea of actually screen time was going to be very difficult to visualize, because it could land up to any amount of time to tell this story. But anyway, we started with ideating on paper, and then what I suggested was, as the shooting was going to begin, and some part of it was being shot in a set with all these wind machines and water being thrown and things like that, you know, as it went. Then I thought the best way would be to visualize the whole thing, would be to try to get, so we had to source or look through lot of videos, you know, from National Geographic or some shipwrecks at different places. I mean, it was a great help that YouTube was there, and we could source so many things. So then into the edit, I brought all these visuals, you know, imagining that this ship would be like, suddenly one ship will come from a foreign film, and you know, it's going in this. So we just wanted a reference, you know, to not for the CG guys, but for ourselves to understand that this scene is working the way it has been. There are 3 stages of the scene. First stage is the character Ponniyin Selvan comes to save his friend Vandhiyathevan, and suddenly the whole wind stops. So when to tell the wind will stop is very easy to write, but to actually create it on screen is going to be very difficult. It requires the sound, it requires the sea to be silent, and then slowly the wind starts. You know, that to get it across on the visual medium is a big challenge. You know, on the paper it looks very nice. You know, wind stops, and then the wind totally stops, and then the slowly wind comes, then the clouds come, and then the rain comes, and then the ship falls into 2 pieces. But while actually making it, it was so difficult, because how will you say that the wind suddenly stopped? So it had to have a person saying, why is the wind stopped? And then we have to show some visuals where everything is still. So we had to cut to wide shots, which were not there. So it was only a sea, and then we had to create a ship on it in CG. So like that, and then slowly the wind comes in, and then he goes there, and when he starts fighting, the rain comes in. When the rain comes also, we had to indicate that the wind is increasing, because as the scene progresses, you have to have a sense of that it can't be suddenly rain, or it can't be, it has to have a gradual progression of how a storm would take place. You know, so first the silence, then the wind will come, then slowly lightning would come, then there will be raindrops, and then, so this we were I think over a period of time, it took a lot of drafts of the edit for us, but we could get it across. Now this challenge was, even if you had references of huge number of shots to get the kick of the scene, that a ship is falling, ship is breaking, and this and that. But that was not our ship, it was some other reference. But we were satisfied that we were able to pull it off as a experience. Now the difficult part was to get this whole idea into the CG domain, to get the CGs because the ship has to fall into the water, go into the water and come out when the water splashes, and we had we had shots of it falling on the actors. So this coordination between CG and the live footage was very important for us, so we had to do a number of runs and reruns to get to that concept. And then the whole ship breaking, it's so easy to conceive, but to really create a ship and to show slowly it's breaking and the masts falling, all that had to happen and happen and happen. It took more than a year for us to actually do the CG for that particular scene and to arrive at what we arrived at the end. And I thought it was one of the highlights of the film because it's where it ends also, the film, for us. I was amazed at the response in the theatre because we have put in a lot of hard work and we wanted to get this spectacle. Mani sir had tried once more before in Kadal also, something similar to that with a lot of things. So he had a little bit of experience on how to shoot in a boat and with water coming in, things like that. But still, this was in mid-sea and it's a whole ship. To actually create a ship and to have it in mid-sea and to have a storm, and then you have another army coming and attack. When all these things fell into place, and in the theatre there was a big high and there was a good momentum, it was very satisfying, I must say.
TVS ஸ்கூட்டி அளிக்கிறது உங்களுக்கு சாலையில் அதிகரித்த கண்ட்ரோலும் மகிழ்ச்சியுடன் பாதுகாப்பான பயணமும்.